Hello, happy Friday. I hope you're all well and that you've had an amazing week. It's been a great week here at Purple Pebble People. We've had lots of things to celebrate, and for those of you who have been watching the videos, you'll have had an in-depth look at those things. We have had conferences, we've had meetings, we've had work that's just been great this week. Really lovely week. So thank you to everybody that's been involved. This morning I was at my BNI meeting, and I was very fortunate to receive some really good feedback from other members around the videos that I've been doing this week. But a lot of the feedback that I got was how they valued the little bits that I've done around equality. So I thought that for once I would structure one of these videos and actually talk about a specific subject and try and stay online. So I'm going to do just that. So here we go. Could be interesting. About 2 years ago, we were going on holiday, and my way of choosing books can be a little bit quirky sometimes. I like to see what the universe throws at me. And Ali and I were in Waterstones. I was waiting whilst Ali was buying her book. And this book jumped out at me, so I bought it. And the book was this one. It's a book by President Jimmy Carter, A Call to Action, Women, Religion, Violence and Power. Not exactly your average everyday light read for an holiday, but we thought we'd give it a go. Wow, what a book. For all you ladies out there, if you would like to gain more perspective on how women are treated around the world, then this is a really, really great book. For you men out there, if you want to know more about how women are treated and the difference between us and them, this bad boy drives it home with a lump hammer. I had to stop a couple of times whilst reading this book to cry. It's really hard hitting. There's some horrific facts in here that you just don't think of. I always thought that we were doing quite well. I knew things were bad in certain places, and there's still a lot of macho men out there who thought women belong behind the sink kind of thing, but didn't quite realise just how bad it was. For instance, I've got a couple of facts for you, but they literally are just tip of the iceberg, scratching the surface stuff. In 1995, there was a survey done about women in the US military, and up until that point, 90% of women had been sexually abused. 90% of the women in the US military had been sexually abused. Wow. But that was 1995. Must be better now. Surely we've come a long way since then. 2012. 26,000 cases of sexual abuse in the US military. 26,000. And during the Gulf War, the US military used civilian contractors. Female civilian contractors had to sign a contract of silence to say that if they were sexually abused, they would not report it. Excuse my French, but what the is that about? How can that possibly be allowed to happen in this day and age? This is 5 years ago. 5 years ago. 26,000 cases. That's bonkers. And many of you will be sat out there going, yeah, but that's America, deep dark South America, anything can happen. Yeah, that's sort of what I thought too. And the book does explore the rest of the world. There's very little in there about the UK. So I got interested and started doing a little bit of research on, what things are like in this country. In the early 2000s, the surveys, the statistics said that in a year there were over 12,000 young females sold into slavery in this country every year. Every year. That's horrible. Horrible. To think that I live and am proud of being a part of a country that has that as a statistic sickens me to the core. Absolutely does. It's unbelievable. And then I started looking at things like the gender gap report, so exploring the pay gap between men and women, only to find out that we're 18th in the list, which, you know, isn't bad considering how many countries there are. It's not good either. I can walk down the road to a specific business that is quite a local business, a renowned business, and walk in there, and I know for a fact there is at least £1,000 difference on salary between two equals in the same role doing the same job. The only difference is one of them has a penis, one of them doesn't. And the one that doesn't gets paid less. Simple as. Even if that person performs better than that one, it makes no difference. Just because that person is a female, they take a different salary. It's bonkers to think that it's that common in this day and age in our country, so close to home. Horrible. So, you know, good old Jimmy Carter, really great light reading if you're going on holiday. But definitely worth a read, even if you're just skimming to look at the statistics. Genital mutilation forced on women, and many other things that going on in here. So definitely worth a bit of an explore, or give me a call, we can have a chat about it. So that set fire under me around what's going on. I've always been a lover of chivalry, medieval legend, King Arthur, all those kind of things. I'm a lover of Knights of the Realm. Yeah, I suppose I'm a bit of a romantic. But I never really understood or even knew that those thoughts and that love actually shaped me as a man. But like I said, the Jimmy Carter book really sort of lit a fire, and I started studying, equality, I suppose, gender studies, and psychology, and I found a book, this book called Contemporary Perspectives on Masculinity. It was written in the 70s, so it's quite old. But again, I just sort of came across it whilst I was doing my research. And this book explores the men's movement. Not the women's movement, but the men's movement. And that sort of piqued my curiosity because, you know, I knew all about the suffragettes and Emmeline Pankhurst. I knew about women's rights and the movement. You know, I'm married to a beautiful, what I call shield maiden, a true woman of her age who fights for her rights and for women to be heard. So, I already knew all that. You know, that's common knowledge for most of us, and our views on that vary. Didn't know there was a men's movement. Was very, very surprised to hear about it. And over the past couple of years, I had been doing some work with people in dating, so a bit of dating coaching, for want of a better phrase. So I had some perspectives on how men felt emasculated and the way that we communicate was off-kilt. So I knew that there needed some movement on there, but I never knew there was anything like the men's movement. And apparently, it started in the early 70s because the leaders of this movement thought that men were being punished for being men. Because women had to fight so hard, almost aggressively, and aggressively in some cases, in order to be heard, to get the vote, to be even starting to be seen as equals. these people believed that we had grown a civilization where men were put upon, that actually we are only the archetypal men that we know and hate, or dislike, hate's a very strong word, the male chauvinists are archetypes that are put on us by society. So society has formed those things, has told us that we must be the people who go out and earn the money. That, we must work longer hours to provide more for our families while the wives stay at home. They can have those nurturing relationships, but that's not for us. No, we belong in the world of work, earning the money. And if you need to put in the extra hours, you'll put in the extra hours. In fact, we'll praise you for working 70 hours a week and providing for your family. No. We don't want to hear about your problems. We just want you to get out there and get cracking. You've got mouths to feed. So when you look at it from that perspective, then I go, actually, yeah, that's right. We're not naturally like this. Society's made us like this. But now we're getting punished for fulfilling the roles that society has deemed that we take. So, and sort of rightly so. Women should be going, whoa, hang on a minute. What do you mean we have to stay here? That you're the only one that can have a career and be successful. I'm perfectly capable as well. Why should I be the one that stays here and take care of the kids? Absolutely right. But there's a point of view. And that wasn't something that was in my eye line, was that actually, yeah, it's a different way of thinking about how men treat women. So that got me to exploring it and reading this book. And Kenneth Catterbaugh, who wrote this book, we're just going to call him Ken for short, says that there are 8 perspectives, or 8 groups of the men's movement. So 8 views on the world. And the first one is conservative perspective. Conservative, traditionalist. You stay there and wash up, I'm off to work and then the pub. See you later. Conservative. There's the pro-feminist who believe that, we feel sorry for men because they've been put on by these limitations that are set on us, that we must be the breadwinner, we must be strong, all those kind of things that we see as traditional and archetypal. They believe that that's a shame. Poor men, they've had these limitations put on them, and that's not great because it means they don't get to be true men. Kind of nice. Within that, you have radical pro-feminists, and they almost go, men, weak, pathetic human beings. They belong at the sink, doing those things. Let us go out and rule the world. That's a load of bollocks. So you got that in there. Then you have the men's rights movement, and they are the complete opposite to real radical pro-feminists. So men are the men's movement, the real men that are up there don't like women. Might not be gay, but really have no respect for women. We're almost talking, you've emasculated us. You've taken away our masculinity. We are confused. You tell us that you want us to be chivalrous and take charge. Then you punish us for doing so. We don't know right from wrong. We don't no longer know our roles. You have turned us into a weak or whimpering mess. So that's the men's rights movement. Yeah, again, I can see some of the perspectives in there. I think women have fought really hard for the last 100+ years to have the right to be heard, to be seen as equals. And I think it's gone from taking a stand to almost taking on a masculine edge. In fact, no, taking on a masculine edge. In order to be heard and to be successful in business, they've had to learn how to behave and perform within a masculine environment. So therefore, they've become more masculine. Creates a problem because masculine puts down feminine. Masculine tells feminine, stop being fluffy, stop being emotional, let's just stick to process and task. So all of a sudden, we've got women bullying men for being men, rather than men bullying women for being women. Total role reversal. It's bonkers. So that's the men's rights movement, and that's what they're talking about, and you do sort of get the point. And then there's the gay perspective, obviously very different, and a socialist perspective. And the final one, it's not the final one in the list, but I've saved it till last, is mythopoetic. So the mythopoetic perspective in masculinity. And this one I found really interesting, and the reason behind that is it's based in myth. So Carl Jung said that mythopoetic is around us, where our natural male beliefs are born through role models and heroes and myth and legend. So for me, my belief around the relationship between men and women is massively shaped by my love of Arthurian legend. Okay, so the Round Table, Camelot, everybody be equal, Guinevere and Arthur, and how she was his counsel as well as he hers, and how that perspective was heard, and that she could overrule decisions, etc., etc. My love of Welsh medieval history and Llewellyn, and a lot of people don't know this, but probably one of the first civilizations which gave women a voice. So in the early sort of 12th century, men and women in Wales, a married couple, then if the woman found the man to be having an affair, she could divorce him. Not in England, not anywhere else. In fact, women will just shut up and exist in a quiet corner, do your needlework. But in Wales, it was very, very different. So actually, the relationship between Llewellyn and Joanna, where she really was a driving force. I mean, she was Prince John's daughter, so she was already really strong. But, you know, him coming into the castle grounds and her throwing a burning mattress out the window because she found that he had an affair. Fantastic. But, you know, that real sort of great relationship of equality and balance. So this really, I sort of really took to the mythopoetic stance on it. You know, looking back to ancient Greece and Roman, you know, ancient Roman law was always equal. Was always equal. Women were celebrated. Mother Nature, Mother Earth. You know, wow, amazing. You know, that was the deity. She controlled men, not controlled. You know, she was the boss. So she knew that men were hunters, gatherers, action-packed, strong men, all that kind of stuff. And that was really cool because actually we need that. As a group of animals, you know, male needs female, just the same as with lion prides where the female is the one that goes out and does the hunting. For us, that was always us. You know, that was always the men that did that, and that needs to be like that. That's part of nature, and us as animals, that's our traits. You know, we are the hunters. So in ancient law, you know, that was seen as great. You know, we need men to be strong and da. However, they revered Mother Nature, so they studied personal growth. They learnt spirituality. They learned how to talk about their feelings and explore and converse. And that was natural. And that's the ancient way of doing things. You know? So men and women learned to coexist. Women's natural roles were being the mother. But they were intellectual. They were educated. They had major roles in society. You know, they really led the way. And they also, you know, learnt to fight. Look at Boudica. leads, her husband is the king and he dies. So this beautiful queen turns to warrior and leads the whole of the tribes to the British Isles into battle with the Romans, looking beautiful on the back of a chariot with a spear, being feared and fighting shoulder to shoulder. These ancient civilizations had it nailed. Men were celebrated for being men, women were celebrated for being women, but they both went through periods of pure spiritual and personal growth to understand and develop the other side. Massively important. Soul quests, rites of passage, all these things were there to do those things. And we've lost that. Therefore, we're confused. And we're just starting to understand that actually we, men, are only just starting to understand how important this is. I mean, there's some amazing people out there doing some amazing things. Luke Ambler from Andy's Man Club. Amazing. The suicide rate for men in this country is through the roof purely because they don't know that it's okay to talk. It's okay to talk. When you're in the pub with your mates, have a beer, have a giggle, do all that man stuff, but don't be afraid to go, you know what, guys, I'm struggling. I need to talk. And guys, we need to listen. It's not girly. Doesn't mean that you're soft. Doesn't mean that you're not a man. In fact, complete opposite. Complete opposite. A man is the man, the her, but also the, you know what, I'm vulnerable, I hurt, I need help, I need warmth, I need a hug, I need someone to talk to me, to tell me that everything's going to be okay, that there's a way forward. Until we get to that point, until we embrace the nurturing side, the femininity, then it's going to be really hard to balance it out. Yes, a lot of women have gone too far and find it hard to find their femininity because of the masculine way they've had to work, but it's easier for them to let that stuff go and drop down and understand that and know that they can switch it on and off. We've got stuff that is completely alien. So effectively, we now have to do what the girls have been doing for the last 100 years. We have to explore and we have to push for the right. Yeah, so that we don't have those limitations that are set on us by society, is that we are the breadwinner. We must be the man. We must work the extra hours. It's up to us to support. It's not. It's up to us all to support each other. But that's, so this is the perspectives of masculinity, and that there needs to be a men's movement. Yeah, and that's pretty much what I want to talk about today. There are some fantastic people out there doing some fantastic things. Frances Day of Birdboard is a great women's only, and rightly so, women's only networking group, for want of a better phrase, that allows professional women to drop down into the feminine. In fact, it will only allow you to be a member, I believe, if you can do that, because they want to promote that powerful, strong, professional women who are women, who can be feminine within that role and be nurturing and everything that goes with it. Okay. Frances Day of Birdboard. If you are female and you are professional and you are around Yorkshire, then look her up. There's quite a few boards building. And back to Luke Ambler again, who's doing Andy's Man Club and promoting It's Okay to Talk. Well done, mate. I really admire what you're doing. I think it's amazing work. Carry it on. We need more places where it becomes okay for men to talk. And if there's any men out there who are struggling in a relationship because they feel they're being emasculated, they feel that they can't do anything right, no matter what they try, or they're confused about how to be a man in this age and how we can get it right, then pick up the phone. Pick up the phone. It's on our website. Contact me on LinkedIn or Facebook, or whatever you want to do. Just pick up the phone. I'll meet you for a coffee. We can have a Skype call. Just talk. Just talk. Even as leaders, we get to a point where we're not managers anymore and we want to move forward and be a successful leader. You have to look at yourself, how your beliefs and your values drive your behaviors, and challenging those behaviors and those beliefs, because a lot of them are only based out of the limitations that have been set on us, whether you're male or female. You know, it's the old, how do you train a flea? Well, repetition, blocking something. If you keep patting people down, eventually they'll stay down. If you tell somebody they're fat often enough, they'll think they're fat. It's all those things. Yeah, you can't be emotional and fluffy because you're a man. You've got to be a macho man. No, you don't. Wear jewellery. Wear nice things. Put moisturiser on. Cry if you want. Who gives a toss? Alright? Let's just be human. Treat each other with a kindness. Open the door because you want to do a kindness for someone else. Accept it because you want that people to see appreciation. Okay? It's not about man or woman. It's about just being. And the more we can get closer to that, the better. Lecture over. Bit deep for a Friday morning. Look, guys, that's all it boils down to. Treat each other with kindness. Be fair, regardless of gender, colour, religion, whatever. Just treat everybody correctly, with an open heart and an open mind, and everything will be cool. Have an amazing weekend, and no doubt I'll speak to you all soon. Pathfinder out. Bye bye.